And thank you very much for joining me, everybody. My name is Andy Donachie, and I am the Chief Operating Officer of the CPD Group. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about CPD, but more from an accreditation organisation perspective. Okay, so CPD is something that is very common across the care industry, and I'm sure you've all heard this kind of stuff before. So this is a definition of CPD. Now, lots of different organisations put out different definitions of CPD. They all say the same thing, but they're just worded slightly differently for a bit of originality. So it refers to the ongoing process of learning and development that professionals undertake throughout their careers. This ensures that they possess the most up-to-date knowledge, skills and practices to deliver the best possible care for people. Okay, so that is one definition of CPD training. Okay, but this is what CPD courses actually look like these days. As you can imagine, as an accreditation organisation, we see an awful lot of different types of CPD coming in for those accreditation marks to be able to promote their courses as being CPD accredited. So, the traditional ones, the ones we're very familiar with through our education, is courses that are face-to-face or online. Okay? We have one-to-one coaching and mentoring courses. All counts as CPD. Conferences like today and seminars just like this, CPD. You're here for the benefit of your profession. You're not here for the good of your health. You're here to learn something about CPD and the care industry today. So these kind of conferences are important. We're actually accrediting the entire event. And you may notice at the edge of all of the speaker stages, there's our logo with a little QR code. If you scan that QR code, you're able to claim CPD certification for being here at today's event. So please do take advantage of that. Okay, observations and shadowing, very, very important in this industry. Sharing your colleagues' knowledge, being able to distribute knowledge across different members of the team, helping people to grow and develop. All CPD exercises. Webinars and podcasts. A huge development in the CPD industry is people moving to a more visual, more digital delivery method. Okay, so we see a lot of webinars and we hear a lot of podcasts, people talking about relevant information in their industry and imparting their knowledge and wisdom through experts to their audiences. Articles, blogs, books, industry-related newsletters, industry magazines, all of these kind of CPD content are top quality. We're working with one of the largest publishers in the trades industry, an organisation called Hamerville, who actually publish the Electrical Installer magazine. They're actually downstairs in one of the other events today, so I'm going to pop in and say hello to them later. Okay, but what we do for them is we recognise that the material that their contributors are making to their magazine has high value of learning in it. So why shouldn't that learning be recognised in the same way as a traditional classroom? The information being shared is still of the same quality, it's just being delivered in a different medium. Okay? Discussions with experienced colleagues. Again, going back to observations and shadowing. Really important exercises, especially for new entrants to the industry. Giving them the opportunity to work around their experienced colleagues, sharing that knowledge and gaining their industry kind of insights, techniques, ways of dealing with people. All of those valuable experiences can be shared from existing members of staff. So why is CPD so important? Okay? It's about staying current, staying up to date, making sure you're aware of advancements in healthcare practices, making sure any new regulations or guidelines that are implemented in the industry are understood by everybody, especially at a management level. It's really important for people to be able to understand any new rules and guidelines that they must adhere to, so they're able to share that further down the chain to the members of staff on the front line. New techniques or equipment that's entered into the industry. So any new techniques, is there training that has come along with it? Is there CPD that is actually there to show people about these new techniques? Really important to keep up to date, to make sure that you're compliant. Equipment, again, if there's a new piece of equipment, generally from what I've experienced, these equipments come with a training course to help you use them safely in the correct way for the correct people. So it's important that those training courses are recognised in a similar way. So leading to better decision making. So at a management level, if those people understand the industry, all of the new developments, all of the new guidelines that they must adhere to as a manager, they will be able to make better decisions, more informed decisions, which ultimately leads to improved care delivery. Okay, so it's really important to stay up to date, and CPD is a way to access that new information. Enhanced skills. So it's an opportunity for members of staff to develop new skills. It's also a chance for them to refine the skills that they already have. keep up to date again with new techniques, with new different kind of equipment that's coming into the industry to support their work. Okay, this leads to more effective interventions and ultimately improves outcomes for everyone, not only the member of staff, but the people receiving care as well. Specialization. CPD can help people grow personally by taking them down a particular specialism route so that they're able to start focusing on a particular area of the business that might be a true business need, or it might help the business expand into a new arena. Okay? Filling the identified skills gaps. If an organization clearly has an identified skills gap, it's about training the appropriate people in the appropriate CPD to help them build their knowledge and confidence in that particular area. And that also leads to higher standards of care for complex needs, such as dementia care, for example. If you have a member of the team that has a very special interest in that area and really wants to develop their own personal skills, their own personal growth, get them onto CPD courses that actually fulfill that need for not only the individual, but for the company as well. Increase professionalism and confidence. So somebody who is highly knowledgeable about the industry that they work in or the duties that they actually do within their role become more confident in their own abilities. It's only natural. Okay, this leads to increased communication, because we found that people who are knowledgeable, people who understand what they're doing, people who realize the importance of their role and their duties to people that they're delivering care to, communicate more efficiently when they understand and know what they're talking about. All right? We find that those people who shy away from knowledge, who don't understand everything completely, start to close in. They stop asking questions and they become almost a liability to the company because they're not engaging, they're not becoming more knowledgeable, they're not growing in confidence, and that can only be a hindrance. Okay, leaders start taking more control. If a leader is understanding their position, understanding the guidelines, understanding the laws they must operate under, and the industry as a whole, they can make more effective decisions with their members of staff. If they understand what the staff need to be doing in more thorough basis, they're able to guide them better and take control of the situation. Leads to continuous improvement right across the board. If everybody's confident, everybody's knowledgeable, confidence will grow and improvements will happen. Professional growth. More engaged members of staff. Trying to keep staff on board is something I'll touch upon later. Okay? But personal growth is massive to the individual. People want to develop, they want to grow, they want to learn. So it's about providing them with opportunities to do that, but also that meets the company's needs as well. There's no point in putting somebody on a course that isn't relevant to their duties or the business's outcomes. It's almost a waste of money. It's about targeting the training, using your funding or your budget for your training to be able to target those identified skills gaps, target an individual's skills gaps, and make that CPD more personal and more useful, more effective. Okay? Credibility and trust. So this helps people maintain professional standards. Okay? CPD is that important that it keeps people at the top of their game. And again, that can only improve outcomes for everybody concerned. Okay? And building trust. Working in the care environment, trust is key. Okay? It's an essential part of what you're doing within your role. Okay, building trust with not only the care receivers, but also those families and everybody that you are trying to attract to bring their loved ones to your place. Okay, so it's important to build trust, and having knowledgeable staff, skilled staff that continue to learn on a daily basis will help build that trust and ultimately help boost business performance. So what are the benefits for employers? Okay, CPD has a lot of benefits for employers. Okay. It shows a commitment to your employee development, all right, which can help to attract and retain high-quality staff. All right, CPD has a massively important role. I was reading the Care Providers Trends report that was published this year, and I was gobsmacked by this statistic that came out of it, that 95% of the respondents told us that they were experiencing staff retention challenges, a marginal improvement on 98% in 2023. Now that is nearly every single respondent pretty much saying that they've got problems retaining high quality staff. They don't want to continue to work in the care industry. A lot of them are moving out of the care industry. Okay, so this is where CPD can provide a massive incentive for people to stay on board. Okay, not only does it help improve your staff retention, investing in people is so important, okay? But it helps reduce company risk. So reduce the risk of errors, okay, which are made by individuals within your establishment. Individual errors can cause catastrophic results in the care industry. So it's important that people are knowledgeable, well-trained, and do their duties efficiently. Ultimately, that helps improve people's safety. Not only the safety of those people receiving care, but also those members of staff that you've put into that position. It's important that the safeguarding of both of those members of the community are taken care of. Okay? CPD is a great way to ensure that people are knowledgeable enough to reduce those errors, improve safety, and ultimately safeguard the company and its reputation as a whole. Okay? So the enhanced reputation. So having CPD and a highly trained staff and a highly motivated staff demonstrates commitment to providing a high quality care service. Okay? It's really important to demonstrate to the public that you do commit to CPD, that you do have your staff trained, and that they have gone in and done the necessary training to take care of the people who are using the care services. And the one we all love, meeting regulatory requirements, okay? Compliance. So, as you're all more than likely aware, Health and Social Care Act of 2008, Regulation 18, staffing, talks about regulatory bodies such as the CQC in the UK dictate that care providers must provide sufficient numbers of suitably qualified, competent, skilled and experienced staff to meet the needs of people using the service at all times. Okay, so it's very important in terms of your compliance as a care provider to actually make sure that your staff are fully competent. And again, CPD is a perfect avenue to explore to make sure that your staff meet this criteria, okay? A CQC inspection, as I'm sure you're aware, an element of that is to review the training matrix and make sure that your staff are competent, well-trained, and up to date with all the latest changes and news in the industry. So, what influences employers to purchase CPD? So one of the services that we offer at the CPD Group is CPD Employer Accreditation, which I'll touch on a little bit later. Okay, but through that process, you know, we ask care companies, not only care companies, all sorts of CPD, all employers, sorry, to come in and apply for our CPD Employers Accreditation, okay? Through that process, in the application for that accreditation mark, we ask quite a range of questions about the company, which I'll touch on again later. But these are the core things that came out of our findings from those applications, and they're in order of priority for the employers that have taken our accreditation mark. Number one, obvious, it's cost. How much is the training cost? Is it within our budget? Is it worth the money for us? Okay. Number two is quality. The standards of learning within that training course that they are actually engaging. The delivery method of the training, whether it's online or in the classroom, and how easy is it for me to get my staff to the training. The number of staff that you can take on per course, followed by the experience of the trainer and the CPD provider. How good are they? What have they done previously? You know, what standards do they hold internally? And then also the flexibility. When can we get you in to actually do the training with us? Okay, so that was the least of people's worries, so to speak. But cost and quality came out miles ahead of everything else, all right? So cost is quite obvious. But the quality side of it, okay, is something that we as an accreditation service are fully invested in, which again I'll touch on in a moment. So through the courses that we receive, okay, and we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of courses coming to us on a monthly, quarterly basis, the trends that have come out. And this goes back to the kind of online delivery. All right, so training providers are becoming far more innovative. They're trying to use different methods of training delivery to be able to engage people and to be able to maintain knowledge and keep people engaged in the learning at all times while they're doing it. So online learning platforms, we're probably all familiar with those. Okay, so there are lots of different LMSs out there, learning management systems, okay, with training embedded in it, or you can build your own, or you can ask a company to build it for you. Now, a lot of these platforms are fantastic. I mean, a lot of care industry kind of service providers use LMS platforms for simplicity. They generally have a training matrix built into the system so you can pull it off and show it to a CQC inspector, for example. They also have, you know, lots of accredited training within that system. okay? They function really, really well in some cases. But again, we'll come to that in a minute. Microlearning. Organizations that are making tiny bite-sized pieces of learning for those professionals that are busy. They're out on the road, they're doing this, they're doing that, so they can just jump into a little bit of training, little bite-sized modules at a time to complete a wider ranged course. Okay, personalized learning. So lots of training providers now are finding that to win contracts, they must be bespoke to the organization they're working for. So they'll sit down and they'll plan their training around the organization specifically. Okay, so it's not just a generic piece of training they come in and deliver. They actually work with the company to make sure that the training speaks to their individual staff members and talks about their own internal policies and make sure that it is very, very keyed in to exactly what the audience are needing to hear. Virtual reality and augmented reality. Okay, so far more immersive type of training. I've seen a really good example of virtual reality being used in the first aid arena, okay, where people are actually in a virtual reality environment delivering CPR. It sounds odd, you'll have to see it to actually get how it works, but it's actually very, very effective. And it puts you in a real life environment, you know, so that you can get the kind of the sense of panic that is going on around the individual at the time, you know, and be able to deal with that side of things, which it is only really experienced when you're in that situation. A training course can talk to you about it, but until you're there, it's very, very difficult to experience that. Whereas virtual reality is taking steps to bring you into that space, to make it feel real, okay? And then we've got gamification. Another course that we saw recently, which was fantastic. It's a little game based for pharmacists, where essentially the participant walks through a pharmacy, and they've got a prescription and they've got diagnosis here, and they have to then go and find the correct medicines on the shelf and do all of these things in a real kind of gamification environment. It's actually very, very effective, you know, and we're getting huge raves from people that are actually taking the course and saying it's a fantastic method of delivery. So it's fantastic. Now, the one thing, these are all wonderful methods of delivery, very innovative, very engaging, but still, the question is for me, especially coming from an accreditation organization background, is what is the quality of learning like? All right? So it might look fantastic, the functionality of the system you're using might be fantastic, but ultimately, is the learning any good? Because that's what it's all about, okay? The actual content of the learning. It's essential that there are learning outcomes in there that meet the roles of the people that you are putting onto the course, or it becomes pointless. Okay, so it is crucial for me that you look into the quality of a course, not just the fancy promotional stuff, not just the fancy system that they're using, but what are the learning outcomes, okay? These are ways to start digging into that quality. If you are a CPD consumer, if you have responsibility for purchasing training within your care environment, have a think about these core points, okay, when you're looking to engage a CPD provider. Is the course accredited? If so, who by? All right? Now, what I mean by that is the CPD accreditation industry can be a little bit of a minefield, okay? So do your due diligence on the accrediting body. Don't be afraid to pick up the phone and ask them about the training company that you are looking to engage with. Ask them about the standards. What have they measured their training against? What learning outcomes are in there, and what scrutiny has that course been put under? Okay, and if the accreditation body isn't prepared to tell you about it, that raises a red flag for me straight away. Okay? Be diligent when you're coming, because you're spending a lot of money on training, and it is a huge investment to train your staff, because that's ultimately how you're going to run your business with those members of the team. So you must make sure the quality of learning's there and you're getting your value for money. The second bit, is the CPD provider and their accredited training verifiable in any way? And what I mean by that is the CPD group, we work very closely with the CPD register. It is a directory of all things CPD accredited. So when we work with a training provider and we accredit their training, we submit everything through to the CPD register, so that if a learner or a potential CPD consumer is looking to try to buy certain CPD, they've got somewhere to go to verify that that is actually accredited training, and it's not just somebody put a logo on their website. okay? Now, unfortunately, it has been raised to our attention in a couple of occasions that there are training providers out there that have taken our logo and stuck it on their training and said, we are accredited by the CPD group. We've never heard of them, okay? Never heard of them. But thankfully, we heard about this because people visited the CPD register and searched the company, and nothing came up. So then they phoned us and said, right, this company is saying that they're accredited by you. Could you, we've checked the register, they're not there. And we have no record of them whatsoever. So we do have a lady in the office who's, she enjoys this stuff, because as soon as we see something like that, she's like a dog with a bone. Off she goes, and she makes them take that down, okay? Because it's misleading. It's actually fraudulent to a certain extent, because what you're claiming is that your course has been scrutinized by a third party, it's been verified, and the standards are up here. When in fact, none of that has happened, and all you've done is steal someone's logo. Okay, so be very vigilant. Okay? Try to find out if they're verifiable, and if they're not verifiable, why not? Okay? Check out customer reviews, of course. Listen to what other people have said about the training company. It's really important. I mean, we do understand that there are bots out there that put crazy reviews out all over the place, but you can generally tell which ones are false and which ones are real. So just go through them. Have a look through all of the customer reviews. Make sure the CPD provider you're looking to work with has good reviews. Ask other people in your industry, okay? Make sure, if you know that there are other care providers out there that are doing a good job, who are they using? Because their training must be of a sufficient standard. Okay, if it's different to yours, go and speak to them. Ask them, well, who are you using? And get some information out of those guys. Make sure it's right for those people in attendance. So again, we've looked at all of the kind of different methods of delivery. We all understand that everybody has an individual learning style, and one person's style might be completely different from the next person, but you still need to get them through the same training. So it's very, very important to pick a delivery method that is right for people. If, in the example, let's say that your member of staff needs to go onto a level 4 standard course, what makes that course level 4? Okay? Outside of the qualifications arena and into CPD, what makes level 4? Okay? Now, when we're receiving courses from training providers and they use the terminology level within the title, the first thing we will do to them is say, can you prove to us that that learning is of a level 4 standard? And generally they can't. So we will not work with them. Well, we'll work with them obviously, but we won't accredit that course until they provide us with a mapping document to show that the learning outcomes within their CPD material is of a level 4 standard. So we ask them to map against qualification specifications in the same subject. We don't expect all of the learning outcomes of a qualification to be in their CPD course, or else it would be a qualification and not CPD. Okay, so it's important that when people are using the terminology level, that they have justification for it. Or you might be buying training that somebody has just titled level 4 because they know it's going to sell. Okay, so be very vigilant with that kind of terminology within a CPD course. Who is delivering the course? Okay, so the individual trainer themselves, what expertise do they have? Are they qualified to deliver the course? I mean, I didn't do this, but I should have done. I was in a first aid course once, and the chap who was delivering the first aid course to us, one of the things he said to us at the end was, to be honest with you, the best thing for your own health and safety is to have a little shot of whiskey in the morning before work, because it settles the nerves and makes you focus. Now, I don't know about you, but my boss wouldn't be too happy with me walking in stinking of whiskey in the morning, all right? But that kind of comment just said to me, does this guy know what he's talking about? Do you know what I mean? Right? Because I found that hilarious, for one, but incredibly irresponsible as number two. Right? You shouldn't be saying things like that in a first aid course. That's my opinion. Right? But, it might even be true, but still, it's not what you share in a first aid course. All right, so who is delivering that course? Are they competent to deliver? Are they qualified to deliver? Do they hold their own accreditation in any form to show you that they are a top quality trainer in their field? So, I mentioned our CPD Employer Accreditation earlier, okay? So I just want to explain to you what this is about. So we offer a CPD accreditation mark to any employer, right? who has a healthy attitude towards CPD. They are committed to updating their staff, getting them all through their CPD and keeping them full of knowledge, okay? We think it's important to recognize organizations like that. We think it's really important that they can shout from the rooftops about their methods, about the way that they operate, and about their commitment to CPD, okay? So our accreditation here is something that we want to give back to people, all right? So we deal with CPD all over the place, all over the world, okay? But we thought it was really important to recognize those organizations in this country that are doing things properly, that are doing things of a high standard, that have that commitment to their staff, okay? So we do it for free. This accreditation is completely free to any organization looking to gain our accreditation mark to demonstrate to people that they are an employer who looks after their team, looks after the service users because they are committed to CPD, okay? If you are interested in that by any chance, on our website we have a full accredited framework. So we publish this so any organization looking to potentially gain our accreditation knows what they're getting into, okay? Again, it's completely free. It does take a little bit of time to complete the application, I'm not gonna lie, all right? But it's important that we get the right information out of organizations to make sure our accreditation is fundamentally useful, okay? So go and have a look at the accredited framework. Because it talks about everything from how do you advertise your internal CPD processes, your internal CPD options to your staff. Things like cost, what's your budget? Do you have a budget? Do you have an internal training team? Do you buy your training in? I mean, what influences you, which is where we got the statistics from earlier. What influences you to buy? Okay, and then also the types of courses that they use to develop it and deliver. All right, so the idea of the accreditation mark is to demonstrate to potential employees, going back to that retention rate, okay? There's a high turnover of staff in the care industry. So this is about demonstrating to those potential employees, those potential applicants, that you're committed to their future. That if you come and work for us, we will invest in you. We will keep you up to date. We will help your professional growth. Okay, so it's a really good way to start promoting new jobs into the marketplace and putting you up above everyone else and give yourself a USP. Ultimately, that will help you attract a higher caliber of applicant because they know that you're the person that they want to work for because you're going to invest in them. Really important. Remain competitive in your field, delivering consistently professional and skilled service. So it's a mark that you can put on your website. It's a mark you can put on your promotional materials to show everybody that your organization has been scrutinized by the CPD group. All right? You've met our criteria as being a fully committed CPD employer. Okay? And that then just rings out into the public through your promotions to build trust and confidence in people searching for care or they're searching for care for a loved one. So why wouldn't I go to an organization for their care services is if I know that they are keeping their staff up to date. It gives me confidence that whoever's being cared for is being looked after properly. They are being looked after by people who care, by people who are knowledgeable, and by people who have a good understanding of their role. Okay? Really important stuff. I want to leave you with this. Okay? So it's a little quote that I love. And it's from Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company. The only thing worse than training your employees and having them leave is not training them and having them stay, okay? Because they become a liability. They're not helping your organization in any way if they're not engaging with learning. Learning is essential to drive people forward, okay? And it's essential that everybody gets on board. The organization develop a learning culture, okay? That everybody's involved in and everybody engages with, okay? So this is one of the services we offer. Again, this is completely free as well. And if you're interested in any events and stuff, our events manager Matt's here somewhere, so speak to him. But if you want any more information about the CPD group and what we do, please visit our website, okay? Come and talk to us. We are happy to talk to everybody about anything. So please do come and see us, okay? Give us a ring, go on our live chat, whatever you want, and get the answers to the questions that you need. You do not have to be a customer of ours to engage in the knowledge that we have to share. We have a podcast we deliver. We have a blog that we've got. Please have a look. There's lots of information specifically about the care industry in there. Okay, so have a look. And please do give us a ring if you need anything at all. So thank you very much for listening, everybody. See you again.